Well, if I could turn back time, if I could find a way, if I could say what you did, what you told me, you said. What's up, y'all? This is Mr. Goodviews on Visual Residuals. And today, I have Punchline. This movie opened something inside of me that I honestly can say I didn't know was locked within. Okay. This movie stars Tom Hanks, Sally Field, John Goodman, Susie Essman, Damon Wayans, which is cool, Paul Mazursky, Mark Riddell, Candace Cameron Bure, Kim Grease, Mark Robbins, the late great Taylor Negron. You got Barry Sobel, George McGrath, Joycey Katz, Pam Madison, Angel Salazar, Casey Sander, Cameron Thor, Laura Jacoby, Mike Starr, George Wallace. And that should be about it. It's got a lot of the old vintage classic headliners. Like, I'm talking about they've been through it all. These people have seen the greats, they are one of the greats, and they know how to do great things. This movie, to me, was a very wholesome, I wouldn't call it a rom-com, but in a sense it is. But it's also about finding your way and getting to the top, okay? It starts off with Tom Hanks' character, and he plays Stephen Gold, who's a semi-dropout student going for his doctorates, trying to become a doctor, and he fumbles he passes the test, but he was barely there the whole semester. He was on academic probation, and the doctor starts the movie off asking Stephen Gold, the student, he's asking him some stuff about the human body, and he gets to a certain part, and the dude scrambles it, and he's like, this stuff you do that since you're not at school, whatever you're doing, he's basically like, hopefully you're good at it because you're done. Boom. So now he doesn't have any school to go to. His roommate locks him out, and he keeps doing comedy. So it just shows you that he's a comedian off jump. And the movie really starts from there, and it really just shows you different comedic styles, and it shows you the setup of the older setup, or how the dynamics would work if you did start trying to be a regular at a comedy club. And it has another character who shows you that she's a housewife, got 3 kids and a husband. Her husband's John Goodman, and the mom is played by Sally Field. Great actress, really great actress. She really sold this one. I will say that everybody in the cast did their part the way they needed to do their part. Most of the comedians that are actually comedians on here play comedians on the actual movie, but it's not like it's too made up. Like, they even acted how they would act if they were that type of shitty comedian. And that's how good they acted on here. Like, there was nothing out of place. You could actually believe that some of the comedians on here are real comedians, even though they're real comedians portraying comedians, if you get what I'm saying. But back to this, you get to it shows you this New Jersey white woman, kind of raunchy, has a Polish husband. She has 3 kids. Oldest daughter is kind of a quirky teenager. doesn't really want to be at home because she doesn't like her parents. Probably had seen her parents when they were younger and grew up with them. So she has a different viewpoint of the parents as the other two daughters. And you can kind of see that through the age gaps in how the daughters act with each other and how the parents act towards each other with the oldest child. But it shows that, and it shows how Lila's character, she's raunchy off top. You really see how she's trying to conform to her husband's culture, because he's Polish and this is the 80s, so he had to be born in like the 50s, so he's like really old school business type. But you can tell that they're on the lower income. I guess you would say that, even though they have a pretty big fucking house. He asks her for some money, and she says she doesn't have it. So let me backtrack real quick. Also, in the beginning, after you meet Stephen Gold, you see Lila's character go up to a man in the beginning, and he's talking to her in the restaurant about some jokes. So she takes $500 that she's been saving up for the family, and she has placed it in the hands of a man who's given her shitty jokes about Polish men, trying to get her career off. Because now when you can forward track, when they're talking to each other about how he found out she's been giving the money away for jokes, he's like, you're like a fucking crackhead. Like, I told you that you can do this for fun, but I didn't say that you can necessarily take this into your hands and run a mile with it, right? It's the good old saying of, if I give you an inch, why are you taking a mile? Like, what the fuck? And she seemed to have taken that to heart a lot, because she stormed. She tells him that she's gonna make the dinner that he needs for his bosses, because he has like a big sale that he's trying to make. And she buckles down and says, "Okay, I'm sorry I lost the money, but I'll get your dinner," right? She's supposed to be cooking. Now it goes back and forth throughout the movie, showing different scenes of Steven doing comedy, and then you have Lila doing comedy. And now, even though Lila starts doing comedy, she says she is in the beginning. Towards the beginning of the movie, she says that she has been doing comedy for like 13 weeks, and that's long enough for her to have friends, I guess, because also throughout the movie, she's talking to the people at the comedy club like she's been there for years, and you see Stephen Gold crushing it on stage, but he barely talks to the people there, and they kind of think that he's an asshole. But he's crushing, so they can't really say anything, because every time he goes on stage, he's getting nearly a standing ovation. So of course, Lila starts to envy that, because she wants to know how the fuck he gets it done. Okay. So towards I'd say the middle of the movie. This is a pretty long-winded movie. I will say that. Good movie, but they could have cut it shorter. This is everything played out how it's supposed to be, but if they would have cut it shorter, it would have been a version of a Lifetime movie. It'd have been that type of cut rate. And I don't really like that. That's like, what, 65, 75 minutes, you know? But again, she's envious a little bit. So she runs into him at a diner that's, I guess, facing or close nearby the comedy club that they go to. And she sees Steven right there, and she kind of breaks his balls, giving him shit like, how the fuck do you do this? How do you get laughs every day? And he's like, why are you asking me? You're funny. You just don't know what to say. Like, are you trying to buy jokes? Because I'm broke, right? And she's like, how are you broke or whatever? And then he cuts it to that. Like, what the fuck do you want, really? I think I got ahead of myself a little bit. Before that, Steven is killing it at the comedy clubs, and there is a scout that comes, and when the scout is there, she meets up with him and talks to her and is like, look, I'm going under. I have no money. If you're going to send somebody here to make me famous, send them now. You think I'm funny and you work for the majors? Let's go major. And she's giving him shit like, okay, sure, this will happen. Look, I can make this happen. He's like, well, send them now. Boom. Cut to the chase. Now they meet in the diner. Boom. She's asking him, well, how the fuck are you that funny? So he's like, just come with me. He starts going to different places throughout the city, which one happens to be a hospital. He went to he went to a hospital. He does like coffee rooms. He does bars. He does pretty much anywhere that he can put his hands on. He goes to do the comedy so he can work his routine up. And mind you, his routine is not that funny. It's kind of like a mix between Seinfeld and Tom Hanks. Like, that's pretty much what it is. It's pretty much Tom Hanks being Seinfeld. It's kind of weird, but in the movie it makes sense, okay? So he starts to tell her what's funny and what's not funny, but you start to see her grow, and that's the best part of the movie, okay? There's also a funny part where after she's supposed to make this dinner, she goes with him on all these adventures, comes home, and has to rush to the store, get some food that store bought, and then the water's turned off because she done took the money that she was supposed to use to pay the bills. She done spent it on jokes that are bad, and now they don't have water, so she takes water out of the goldfish. She takes water out of the fish tank, and this is hilarious. I really like this because her daughters are funny. One of her daughters is Candace Cameron. Like, the younger two daughters are funny because they're always with their mom. So she's raunchy, and the kids are raunchy. So it transitions from her making a pot of tea, and the girl kept asking, why is the fish tank low? Why is the fish tank low? And then she was like, oh, the black fish is missing. And the water that she used from the fish tank, she put that shit on the teapot and boiled the fish. And when it started whistling, it transitioned to a dude whistling on stage, and I was like, bruh, they're about to drink the damn fish. And I know she know, or she don't know. I'm sure she has something to think about while they're about to eat the dinner. But then it also has another scene where the youngest daughter, says a raunchy joke, and they start choking and shit. But it also shows that the mom has a foul mouth. Like, she curses all the time, but she's a great mom. But you can tell that the dad is more responsible than she is. He's really trying to retain his wife, but she still wants to be this fun young person because she missed out on being young by having these kids. But he's trying to tell her, look, you can't be doing that shit. You got kids. And she's not understanding that this whole movie. So once Tom Hanks' character, Stephen Gold, once he pretty much starts to solidify their friendship, he starts making his move because you got to still remember he is broke, doesn't have a place to stay. She has 3 kids and a husband and a big house. He's trying to pretty much infiltrate her to the point where he can use her because also at the beginning when you're seeing how envious Lila's character is of Steven, one of the barmaids come by and she's like, yeah, he's like a lazy lay and he's an asshole because he just needed a place to stay. So that's always in the back of her mind because she knows what type of person he is because on a girl to girl level, she knows that he can't fuck and he also just needs a place to stay. But that being said, he still pushes it on to the point where now she's going out even more, weird days, weird times, on the phone, making lies. Her husband finds out that it's a man, and he knows that she's been doing comedy with him. And he's like, this is what the fuck you're doing? You're throwing away your whole family because this dude wants to tell you jokes and shit? You're not even funny. And once you find out that we cared for you when you're not even funny, that's when you're going to find out that fuck, you fucked up. And if you leave me, you're going to find it out. He pretty much tells her that. And she takes it in the brain, but she still goes out. But you can see it to start to click in her head that she can't just throw her whole life away for this college student. Even though they may be around the same age, it doesn't really tell you how old she is. She's probably, I would say, probably like 29 because they got like a 13-year-old and it seems like they had kids young. So I'd say she's like maybe 29, 30. She got like a 15-year-old. They seem like they had kids young because the way the older daughter is acting and the way they look, it seems like they had kids fucking young. And that's why he's trying to impress his bosses because he's finally getting to the point where he worked up in the company to where they can finally start making some money, and he doesn't want her to embarrass him by doing all this raunchy shit because she's raunchy and their daughters are starting to act like they ain't got no mind. But that being said, towards the end, spoiler alert, towards the fucking end, you see her blossom as a great comedian. Like it's like now it's flowing through her. She's growing. She understands what comedy really is because she has the heart in it now. She can finally let go. It's not this thing that she's been hiding, trying to get a quick fix of. It's something she can fully embrace. Boom. They give him the ultimatum, telling the person who came to see him, Stephen Gold's character, Stephen Gold, Tom Hanks' character, the person who came to see him sent some guys and he choked. Now, when he choked, he cried and he ended up in the arms of her, of Lila's character, telling her that he loves her and that she needs to leave her husband for him and that they should get married. And she's like, I can't do that. I have a family, right? After he chokes, he's still not quitting, though. He choked and he chose to stay on stage because this is all he's got. He ain't got nothing to lose anymore. And And if he did have something to lose, the only thing he had to lose was Lila, and he lost her to her husband again. And oh, God. Okay? He's still doing comedy. She quits. The person who did all the scout who went out there and got him the agents and then did all this shit found talked to the owner who has been trying to fucking hassle Tom Hanks' character into being his manager, pretty much gets them a show to where it's an actual contest. So now all the people who are regulars can be on a chance to get on their to get a chance on the show, which is not what she promised him, because at the beginning the scout promised him a chance on the show for him, or a chance on anything for him, basically to bring him, make him a star. Now she's saying that everybody has the equal opportunity chance to be a star. That way they can prophesize and get some more money. He gets Lila's name thrown into the pot. She doesn't want to do it. Her husband finds out that she got a chance to go, and he says, fuck it, you should go. Can I come? Boom. Now, through all of this, the fact that she decided to come back shows that she's strong as fuck, but it also shows that now she has the power of her husband too. She was already strong in comedy before, but now she can really roast her husband in front of him and fight the biggest demon she had the whole time, which is the feeling of not being funny to her family, which is the main goal of her going to do comedy in the first place, and you find that out at that moment. Okay? So, out of all the judges, it gets down to who they're going to pick, because Steven goes out there and he does a great set, full standing ovation. Everything happens. They go downstairs. All the people are there. Damon Wayans' characters and Taylor Negron and all the other comedians are there. And they announce the winner. And the winner was Lila. And everybody's like, wow. And she knew for a fact that even though she won, that she couldn't take it because she didn't put out all that work that Steven's character did. It's almost like a person going through all of that, teaching somebody all the stuff they knew from everything they knew, giving it to somebody, and they win and you don't. So she gave up her chance to win and gave it to Steven. Steven wins the whole thing and gets his chance to be a star because she felt like he earned it, because he did all of that and he was really trying and he showed her and he didn't have to do none of that shit. He fell in love with her. She fell in love with him, but she fell out of love with him because she already had love, and she wanted him to grow because she still had to grow in her family. And that was a deep fucking movie in retrospective. This has been a review on the movie Punchline, 1988. And I bid you adieu. Thank you. This has been a visual residual.